All right, tens, it's me again. Here to talk about question number 3. So let's take a quick look at it. A helicopter is 400 meters directly above a highway. Looking west, the angle of depression to a car accident is 65 degrees. And looking east, the angle of depression to an ambulance is 30 degrees. How far away is the ambulance from the accident scene? And if the ambulance travels at 80 kilometers an hour, how long will it take to reach the scene? So first, we have a helicopter that is 400 meters above a highway. And so let's just draw our highway. And the person looking out of the helicopter looks west, and when they look west, they see that the angle of depression is 65 degrees. And remember that the angle of depression is always between a horizontal, right? It's always between the horizontal and the direction in which you're looking. So this angle right here is 65 degrees. When they look east, they notice that the angle of depression, okay, is 30 degrees. So once again, the angle of depression is the angle between the horizontal and the line of sight. So if we take a quick look at this question, we know that from the Z rule, right, because these horizontals are going to be parallel, that from the Z rule, this angle right here is also 65 degrees, and consequently, this angle right here is also 30 degrees, and this height is 400 meters up to where the helicopter is. So we're asked to find this distance right here, and I'll just label that Z. So in order to find Z, well, we know that if we find X here, and if we find Y here, that this length X plus this length Y would equal this length Z. So one of the nice things that we notice here, right, is that even though we have this big triangle right here, that we can split it up into these two smaller right angle triangles. And if we split it up into these two smaller right angle triangles, well, we can find X because we have an angle and we have a side. And so that means we can use SOHCAHTOA. And here we have an angle and a side, so we can use SOHCAHTOA. So first I'm going to work at looking at X. Well, I have here is X, so let's take a look at this angle, 65 degrees. I know the opposite side and I want to find the adjacent side, so that's going to be my tan ratio. So tan of 65 is equal to opposite, which is 400, over adjacent, which is X. Now, X I want to solve, so I'm going to move the X up. So I'm going to have X tan 65 is equal to 400. It was a division. We move it across the equal sign, it becomes a multiplication. Then I move the tan 65 across, and so I have X equals 400 divided by tan 65. It was a multiplication. When I move it across, it becomes a division. So if I bring my calculator in, I do 400 divided by the tan of 65, closing that out, and I get 186.5. So now X is equal to 186.5. So now let's take a look at Y. Well, in this case, I've got 30 degrees in this triangle. I've got the opposite side of 400 and the adjacent side, which is Y. So I have opposite and adjacent, so I'm going to use tan again. So I know that the tan of 30 degrees is equal to opposite, which is 400 over Y. So once again, I'm going to bring the Y across, so it becomes Y times the tan of 30 is equal to 400, and then I'm going to bring the tan 30 across, and when I do, it becomes a division. Bring over my calculator, and I have 400 divided by the tan of 30, so 692.5. So y is equal to 692.8. And z now, which is what I really want to find out, is equal to x plus y. So it's going to equal 186.5 plus 692.8, which is equal to 879.3 meters. So we found the first question, which is how far away is the ambulance from the accident scene? The ambulance is 879.3 meters away. And so now that takes us to the second question, which is if the ambulance travels at 80 kilometers an hour, how long will it take to reach the scene? Well, here we need to remember the fact that our speed is equal to our distance divided by our time. And then we just want to rearrange that to solve for time. So we're going to bring time across. So t times v equals d. And then we're going to bring v across. So t equals d over v. So time is going to equal distance over speed. Well, the only thing to be careful of is that their speed is 80 kilometers an hour, and our distance is in meters, so we need to convert one. So if we take our 879.3 meters, if we divide that by 1,000, we'll get it in terms of kilometers. So we end up with 0.8793 kilometers. So now I can plug that into this equation. So I have 0.8793 kilometers divided by 80 kilometers an hour is equal to 0.0109 of an hour. And that really doesn't mean a lot to us, so we probably want to convert that hour into seconds or minutes. So if I take that and I want to convert it, well, I know there's 60 minutes in an hour, and I know there's 60 seconds in a minute. So I'm going to take that and convert it to seconds. So I'm going to do 0.01099. I'm going to multiply it by 360 to figure out what that is in seconds. And when I do that, I find out that that is equal to 39.6 seconds. So now I've answered both questions. I now know that the ambulance is 879.3 meters away, and it's going to take 39.6 seconds to get there. Thanks, Tens.